Revealed. The incredible journey of my sister from washing dishes to wearing her dream dress. Emily stood behind the counter at Sweet Maple Diner, the rhythmic clatter of dishes echoing through the small establishment. Each dish scrubbed was a small sacrifice made for her family, especially for Sarah, her bright 16-year-old sister. Hard work ran deep in Maplewood, but dreams had a way of slipping through the cracks of responsibility. Today felt different, electrified, as whispers of a charity prom dress giveaway sent ripples of excitement through the community. Emily's heart raced for her sister as she pictured Sarah in a stunning gown, one that could lift her from the shadows and illuminate her hidden dreams. Yet, as the vibrant energy contrasted with the bleakness in Emily's life, she felt a strangling weight. The eviction notice lay crumpled in her pocket, a bitter reminder of their crumbling stability. She gritted her teeth, focusing on cleaning the dishes. Every swirl of the sponge blurred the distinction between her sacrifices and Sarah's dreams. Emily could almost hear the whispers of the town. Look how hard she works. But in her mind, she wondered if it was enough. In the glow of that anticipation, Sarah's words had grown heavy, almost suffocating. "I want to be more than just your little sister, Em," she'd said, her voice a whisper as they sat on the peeling front steps of their small home. But how could she blossom when Emily's sacrifice anchored her down? Desperate to break free, Sarah needed her sister's love, while carving her own identity away from Emily's shadow. As the night of the charity event arrived, the community center sparkled with string lights, illuminating the worn floorboards and the hopes of young girls like Sarah. The air buzzed as Sarah took the stage, her knees trembling but her eyes ablaze with something fierce. She spoke of dreams and family, a feeling invisible despite her sister's unwavering devotion. Emily's chest tightened as tears threatened to spill. She had sacrificed so much, but had it pushed Sarah away instead of closer? The audience shifted, drawn in by her raw emotion. And Emily suddenly grappled with her pride and guilt. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. But just as those words filled the air, the crack of tension reared its head. Whispers of envy and quiet resentment rippled through the crowd, and Emily's heart sank.
She watched as Sarah's voice echoed through the center, a beacon of strength overshadowed by unintentional rivalry. They battled the unspoken rules of their lives, expectations and economic struggles wedged between them like an unscalable mountain. As the event unfolded, hope flickered like the overhead lights. Sarah's gaze fell on a shimmering dress, and Emily felt it, the stir of a bond thick with promise and turmoil. They stood at a crossroads, emotions swirling, the depth of their love hanging in the balance. Suddenly, a community member approached with an unexpected opportunity, one that could change everything, but simultaneously threaten what they had. Would they navigate this moment together, or let their struggles tear them apart once and for all? The community member, a wiry man in a crisp suit, approached them with an air of excitement that felt almost suffocating. His hair was slicked back, eyes gleaming as if he held the answers to every unsaid question. "Sarah, Emily," he said, his voice strong yet warm. "I've seen what you both have done for each other. It's inspiring. We have an opportunity that could change everything for you." As he spoke, Emily's stomach knotted. "What opportunity?" she asked, trying to suppress the tumult surging within her. "It's a scholarship," he said, "a mentorship program for a promising young talent. It includes a fashion internship and the chance to showcase your work at the Maplewood Arts Festival. There's a dress in it as well." Emily's heartbeat quickened. This was the dream they had whispered about late into the night, the promise of fashion lighting Sarah's world like a beacon. But then the weight of her reality came crashing back. "But what about everything we're facing? The eviction notice?" Her voice trailed off, the words swallowed by doubt. "The scholarship covers it all. But..." His gaze shifted, and he hesitated. "It requires commitment. You'll be expected to put in long hours, and it won't be easy." "Easy?" Sarah's eyes widened. "Em, this is everything. I can finally be more than just your little sister." And there it was, the fork in the road. Emily struggled to swallow. The thought of Sarah venturing off on her own, pursuing her dreams, left her feeling torn. "But if you take this opportunity, what about us? What about the sacrifices we've made?" Sarah's hopeful expression faltered. "You want me to stay here, Em? To be the little sister who depends on you? I can't do that. Not anymore." The confrontation hung in the air, heavier than the modest decor of the community center. The strings of lights twinkled above, but the brightness around them felt dimmed by their unspoken fears. "Maybe we can find a way to make this work," Emily suggested, her heart racing with the thought of losing Sarah. "I'll help you after work. We can still be together, right?" "No," Sarah's voice cut through the air like glass breaking.
She clasped her hands tightly, fighting against the tears threatening to spill. "You've always been my rock, but I need to stand on my own 2 feet. I want to chase my dreams." In that moment, everything shifted. The pain of their realities crashed into Emily's sense of duty, and an unexpected anger flared up. "Do you even realize how hard I've worked, how much I've sacrificed? I can't just let go, Sarah." Her breath came out in frantic bursts, torn between love and fear. "I know," Sarah's voice softened, but firmness lingered. "But I want more than this. You've given me everything, but it's time for you to step back, and for me to finally step forward." An uncomfortable silence fell between them, filled with unvoiced emotions and questions that spun like a whirlwind. Would this be the end of their closeness, or the beginning of new paths? As Emily looked into her sister's tear-filled eyes, she felt something flutter deep inside, a flicker of hope. Could letting go truly mean allowing Sarah to soar? All around them, life continued. The laughter of girls in beautiful dresses blended with the soft melody of a band playing nearby, but the beat of Emily's heart felt discordant. "Fine," she said, the wavering strength in her voice betraying her. "But let's figure this out together, whatever it takes." The weight of those words hung in the air, the sentiment shadowed with uncertainty. But before they could grasp what this meant, a companion in the audience stepped forward, a familiar face, ready to make a proclamation that could shake everything they just decided. What would this additional revelation mean for their already fraught journey? Emily could feel that things were about to change, but would they embrace it together, or let it force them apart? The air turned electric as a figure stepped into the light, silhouetted against the backdrop of the festive decorations. It was Clara, their childhood neighbor and a well-known fashion blogger who once graced magazines with her vibrant outfits and bold designs. There was a history between them, a knot of memories both sweet and bitter, but the sight of Clara now sent an unexpected chill through Emily. "Hey, ladies," she chimed, her voice ringing with confidence. She cast a knowing glance at Sarah, taking in the moment's tension. "Clara," Emily said cautiously, "we were just discussing the opportunity and what it might mean for us." The way she spoke felt defensive, protective. "Right," Clara laughed lightly, but aimed her sharp gaze at Sarah. "And you're ready to go for it, aren't you? I mean, who wouldn't want to take the spotlight?" "Spotlight?" Emily echoed hastily. "She has responsibilities here, Clara." Each word felt like a defense mechanism, shielding Sarah from the potential heartache of chasing a dream. Sarah stepped forward, her posture square and resolute. "I need to take this chance, Clara." "I can't be in Emily's shadow forever." Clara's eyes sparkled. "Exactly. Look, Em, you've done enough. Sarah deserves to shine." "Shine?" Emily's voice crackled. "And what if she falls? What if—" "That's the risk of growing up," Clara asserted, cutting Emily off. "We all have to take risks if we want to see what we're capable of." "Is that a risk not worth taking?" Sarah's voice trembled slightly, but her resolve held firm. "This is my time, Em. I love you, but I can't keep dishonoring my dreams just because it's hard." Emily's heart twisted. The ache of loss fought with the need to support her sister. "But what about us? What if we're making a mistake?" Clara leaned in, her expression softening. "You know, I once chose safety over my dreams. I washed dishes instead of stealing the spotlight, and trust me, the regret haunted me. You don't want that for Sarah, do you?" Silence swept through, thick and heavy with unvoiced fears. Clara's words dug deep into Emily, unearthing buried doubts. She could still feel the sting of those lost chances, the lonely nights staring at barren walls where dreams once danced. "I thought I was doing what was best for both of us," Emily murmured, torn between fear and love. "You did what you thought was best," Clara reassured her softly. "Now let Sarah decide what's best for her. Sometimes, letting go means opening doors you never knew existed." Tears threatened to spill from Emily's eyes as she glanced from Clara to Sarah. The enormity of the decision loomed before them. What if this opportunity isn't all it's cracked up to be? "Then I'll find my way back," Sarah answered, her confidence steadying Emily's racing heart. "I promise." In that moment she seemed to grow taller, more poised and defiant, and the glimmer of possibility shone in her eyes. As the strings of lights swayed gently from above, illuminating their shared fears and hopes, Emily realized she had a choice to make.
Would she keep holding on, or trust that letting go might lead to brighter tomorrows? Just when she felt the tension peak, Clara glanced over her shoulder. "I think everyone's waiting for the big reveal." Reveal? Emily's stomach flipped with a mix of curiosity and anxiety. What did Clara mean? Suddenly, it all felt like a pivotal moment. Sarah's path, Clara's whispered possibilities, an unknown future hanging like an open canvas. As Emily looked back at Sarah, anticipation danced in the air, begging to be understood. "What do you mean, Clara?" A fleeting smile formed on Clara's lips. "Just trust me, you're both going to want to see this." What could it be? The uncertainty loomed, but hope flickered bright as Emily took a deep breath, bracing for what came next. Could this reveal change everything for them? And would they finally find a way to embrace their separate dreams without losing their bond? Clara's smile widened, an excited glimmer igniting her eyes.
It felt like the light around them brightened, as if the decorations were somehow amplifying the charge in the air. Emily's heart raced, uncertainty battling with a flicker of intrigue. "Just a moment," Clara said, giving them both a playful wink before spinning away, her heels clicking sharply on the wooden floor as she darted toward a dimly lit area at the back of the pavilion. "What is going on?" Sarah asked, her voice a curious whisper that cut through the tension. Emily shrugged, her own mind swirling with questions. The festive atmosphere felt surreal, everything suddenly laced with possibility. A few moments later, Clara returned, an elegant garment bag slung over her shoulder. She placed it carefully on a nearby table, and the world seemed to quiet around them. The soft music in the background faded, hushed by the anticipation that hung between the three of them. "Here it is," Clara announced, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial hush. She unzipped the bag, revealing a stunning gown, its fabric a shimmering blend of gold and cream. It cascaded down like waves of silk, layers flowing like liquid sunshine. Emily gasped. "Is that for Sarah?" "Yep, a dress for the final showcase," Clara confirmed, her voice brimming with energy. "Everyone's going to show their designs, including the scholarship contenders. This dress will be Sarah's statement piece." "Wow," Sarah uttered, breathless. She stepped forward, her fingers grazing the dress as if it might slip away. "It's so beautiful. But are you sure this is for me?" Clara nodded with sincerity, the warmth radiating from her bright smile. "I wouldn't have brought it if I didn't believe you could own it. You need this chance to show the world who you are. The audience will love it." "But I don't know if I'm ready," Sarah admitted, the shimmer in her eyes clouded with doubt. "What if I mess this up?" "Nobody's ready until they take the first step," Clara said firmly. "You'll find your way when you embrace the moment." Tension flickered in the air like a blown candle. Emily's heart was a rock in her chest. She wanted so badly to guide Sarah, to keep her safe, yet she could see the yearning in her sister's eyes. This was not just a dress, but a key to unlocking Sarah's true self. "What if it isn't the right style?" Emily asked, her protective instincts kicking in again. "What if the judges don't see the real you?" I love you," Sarah said gently, turning to face her head-on. "I really do. But this is my chance. I can't worry what everyone else thinks. She swallowed hard. "I need to believe in myself first." Clara placed a reassuring hand on Sarah's shoulder, giving it a gentle squeeze. "You can't live someone else's life, and you certainly can't chase your dreams staring down the path of someone else's expectations." Emily's heart ached with the weight of her sister's words. Could she really forgive herself if she held Sarah back?
The cluttered thoughts in her mind began to organize, forming into a vision of a life where love didn't mean sacrifice, and support didn't mean confinement. "Okay," Emily said finally, her voice strong yet painted with softness. "If you feel this is your calling, then let's make it happen. I'll help you however you need." Sarah's eyes sparkled, a wave of gratitude washing over her face. "Really?" "Really," Emily confirmed. "You deserve this. Let's embrace it together." Clara's smile grew wider. "Now you're both talking?" As the energy shifted, a bubble of hope enveloped them. The night was far from over, but one question lingered heavy in the air. If Sarah stepped into this new opportunity, what would become of their relationship? And would they stand strong side by side, or drift apart in their individual journeys? Sarah took a deep breath, a hint of excitement transforming her expression. "So, what's next?" The journey had just begun, and the stakes were high. But in that moment, with the music beginning to swell again, Clara appeared poised for adventure. For Emily, it was the moment that would challenge everything she had held on to and lead her down a path she never expected to take. Would she find a way to redefine their bond amidst the chaos of dreams taking flight?
With the beautiful gown laid out before them, it seemed answers lay just around the corner. But would they be ready when the moment arrived? Clara clapped her hands, her excitement infectious. All right, let's get started. This is more than just putting Sarah in the dress. It's about bringing her vision to life. Right here? Sarah asked, glancing around uncertainly. The pavilion was beautifully decorated, but a flurry of people moved about, laughter mixing with the soft notes of live music. Exactly. We'll find a quieter corner to work on your look, then showcase it right here. Clara's determination was palpable as she led them towards the side of the pavilion. Emily followed, her heart racing again at the thought of the showcase. Was Sarah really ready for this? Yet every step they took seemed to bring life back to the spark inside Sarah. As they settled into a spacious nook, Clara quickly laid out the dress and accessories. Delicate gold jewelry, a pair of shimmering shoes, a tasteful clutch that glinted under the string lights. Look at this, Clara said, pulling out the shoes. These are stunning. You're going to make an impression, Sarah. Fingers trembling with excitement, Sarah picked up the dress. This is a lot to take in. She started to bite her lip, hesitating, but then took a deep breath. What if I mess it up? Remember what I said? Encouraged Clara. You find yourself in the moment. Don't think about what could go wrong. Focus on this being your time. Emily watched, her heart swelling with pride and fear. Sarah was so determined, she could sense it. You're not alone, you know, she said softly. I'm right here.
Whatever happens, we'll face it together. A smile crept onto Sarah's face, slowly brightening. Thanks, Em. That means a lot. As they prepped Sarah, Clara pulled back to get a full view. Now hair! She pulled out hairpins and a small curling iron, radiating energy that lightened the surrounding atmosphere. Let's make this gorgeous like you are. Hours appeared to melt away as they transformed Sarah. Clara expertly arranged waves that framed her face, the golden locks catching the light. Emily giggled when Clara insisted on adding a few sparkly clips, carefully pinning them. Each little detail added to Sarah's transformation. Once the dress was on, the atmosphere shifted again. Sarah looked in the mirror, and her breath caught. The dress hung perfectly, accentuating her figure while still feeling like her. She gasped, You look incredible! You're the epitome of elegance, Clara said, practically dancing in excitement. Sarah's eyes glistened as she spun slowly, marveling at her reflection. For a moment, it felt like they were the only ones in the room, the outside world fading away. But then doubt flickered back. What if the judges don't see me like this? What if they only see the dress? Then show them who you are, Emily exclaimed, stepping forward with strength. This is your style, your statement. You've got this. Sarah tightened her hand around the neckline of the dress. It wasn't just fabric. It was a piece of her story, her growth. Just then, the pavilion lights dimmed as the MC's voice rang out, announcing the start of the showcase. Emily's heart raced. It was happening. Are you ready? Clara whispered, excitement crackling in the air. Gathering herself, Sarah nodded slowly, her nerves giving way to something fierce inside. Just remember, Clara added, this moment is yours. Own it. As they stepped toward the crowd, Emily felt her heart swell with pride for her sister, but a familiar pang of worry tugged at her. Would this moment bring them closer, or would it shift everything they knew? With a deep breath, Sarah took a step forward, the dress flowing behind her like a wave crashing toward the shore. Determination radiated from her, and for Emily, there was no turning back now. But before they could reach the stage, a sudden shout rang out from the crowd. Wait, we're missing someone important. Emily's heart dropped. What now? Who hadn't they accounted for? Emily's heart was racing, confusion clouding her mind. Who could possibly be missing? Her thoughts swirled with worry as Clara spun toward the crowd, her face etched with curiosity. Who is it? Clara asked loudly, trying to be heard over the commotion. The crowd seemed to part slightly, and Emily squinted, searching for the source of the voice. With a rising sense of dread, she felt a knot form in her stomach. Just moments ago, everything felt so perfect, and now, what was happening? Suddenly, a familiar figure emerged.
It was Jenna, Sarah's best friend from childhood, weaving through the crowd with a determined look on her face. Emily's heart almost burst with relief, but a flicker of concern remained. Jenna reached them, breathless. I'm sorry. I came as soon as I could, but I had to finish something first. Her eyes darted between Sarah and the stage, taking in her friend's stunning transformation. Jenna! Sarah exclaimed, her voice a mix of surprise and joy. What are you doing here? I thought you couldn't make it. I wouldn't miss this for the world, Jenna said, beaming. You look amazing, Sarah. I just had to grab a little something before coming over. She held out a small bouquet of flowers, a delicate arrangement of wildflowers, just like those Sarah used to pick in their backyard. With trembling hands, Sarah accepted the bouquet, pressing it close to her heart. "You got these for me?" "Of course," Jenna replied, a grin spreading across her face. "You're my best friend. You deserve this, and I know it's your moment. I wouldn't let anything stop me from being here." The warmth from Jenna's support fueled Sarah's confidence. She glanced at her reflection once more, heart pounding with a mix of emotions. Everything felt amplified now. The laughter, the lights, and the cheers from the crowd seemed to wrap around her like a cocoon. But Emily couldn't help it. Her protective side kicked in again. "Are you sure you're ready for this?" she asked Sarah, knowing full well how much tonight meant to her sister. "I am," Sarah replied, a soft determination in her voice. She tightened her grip on the bouquet, her eyes sparkling with excitement and nerves. "I've never been more ready." Clara stepped back, her hands on her hips. "All right, team, we need to get to that stage. Show them what you've got, Sarah." With her friends by her side, Sarah took a deep breath, the bouquet tucked securely in her arms. She could feel the support and hope radiating from her little circle. She wasn't just wearing a beautiful dress, she was stepping into her own narrative. As they approached the stage, the lights felt blinding and the noise grew louder. Emily bit her lip, fighting the urge to hold Sarah back. This was the moment. But what if the judges didn't appreciate what they saw? What if all this buildup came crashing down? Jenna must have sensed her worry. "You've got this, Sarah. Just remember, you're more than just tonight. You're amazing just as you are." As they stepped closer, the MC spotted Sarah. "There she is! Sarah, everyone!" The crowd's attention shifted, their applause echoing through the pavilion. But then, just as Sarah took her first step onto the stage, a loud crash erupted from the back, sparking an unexpected wave of chaos. Emily's heart raced. What now? What could possibly go wrong at this moment? Suddenly, everything felt uncertain again, and she couldn't help but wonder how this showcase would truly end. A gasp rippled through the crowd.
Emily's heart lurched at the sight of the commotion. A rustle of panic swept across the onlookers as chaos unfolded seamlessly. The sounds of metal crashing against wood echoed ominously. The MC's voice turned shaky, and the rhythm of the evening hung in the balance. "Stay back, please, everyone remain calm." His attempts to control the crowd only heightened the tension. Jenna grabbed Sarah's arm, her eyes wide with concern. What was that? She peered over the audience, trying to discern what had happened. Emily's mind raced, picturing worst-case scenarios, tripping over a cord, a stage malfunction, anything that could put Sarah's moment in jeopardy. "No!" Clara exclaimed, stepping forward as if to shield Sarah from any unseen threat. "We can't let this ruin your moment." Sarah stood frozen at the edge of the stage. The applause had turned to whispers of disbelief, and her beautiful gown that glimmered under the lights now felt like a costume in a play gone awry. Her hands gripped the bouquet tighter, the wildflowers now a symbol of her desire to bloom. "Step back," Emily urged, trying to keep her composure despite the turmoil swirling around them. "You can do this, Sarah. Don't let this take away your spotlight." But before Sarah could respond, a figure broke through the crowd, scrambling toward the stage. It was a girl, taller and older, with a look of sheer determination. Emily's heart raced again. What could she possibly want now? "That's not supposed to happen. The presentation is going all wrong," the girl shouted. "Someone get the organizers." Emily felt a wave of anger rise. Who was she to interrupt? But something in the girl's eyes, a mixture of urgency and fear, stopped her from voicing her frustration. Suddenly, Sarah's expression shifted. The initial shock melted into something more resolute. She looked at Emily with a spark, a fire igniting behind her anxiety. "I can't wait," she said quietly, taking a step forward, leaving her friends momentarily speechless. "Sarah!" Clara exclaimed, but her voice was swallowed by the crowd. "I have to show them," Sarah continued, determination etched into her features. "I've waited too long for this." The crowd's murmurs faded into a dull roar as Sarah took another step, then another, etching herself closer to the stage. Jenna grabbed her hand, grounding her. "You sure about this?" Sarah nodded, a glimmer of courage breaking through the chaos. "Yeah, I think I found my voice." With one final breath, she stepped onto the stage, the lights blinding yet energizing. "I'm here," she shouted, her voice strong and bold. "You don't have to worry. I'm ready to take this stage." The crowd fell silent. Emily could barely breathe, heart pounding in her chest. This was the moment she'd hoped for, but it came with its own risk. Sarah was no longer a mere girl in a dress. She was a force, ready to take back control of her narrative. What will she do next?
Emily wondered, the uncertainty palpable in the air, a delicate balance teetering between triumph and catastrophe. As Sarah stood tall, everything hung in the balance, and Emily could only watch, breathlessly anticipating what would happen next. Would her sister finally own her place on that stage, or would the chaos drown her out? Was this the moment where everything changed, or just another hurdle in a long journey ahead? The silence felt heavy, like the air before a thunderstorm. All eyes were on Sarah, waiting, searching for signs of hesitation or resolve. Emily squeezed her hands into fists, praying that this was the moment Sarah would finally shine. Still, the uncertainty loomed. What if she falters? The thought nagged at Emily like a stubborn shadow. What if the chaos takes her down? But then Sarah opened her mouth again, and this time it was a soft melody that flowed out. I've been afraid for too long, of being seen, of being judged. Her voice quivered, but it rang clear. Emily held her breath. This was not just a speech. It was a revelation, a peek into the pain Sarah had carried all these years. I want to share my story, Sarah continued, her eyes scanning the crowd, pooling with confidence. My story is not just for me, but for every girl out there who feels invisible. The audience mirrored her struggle, some nodding, others leaning in closer. Jenna stood at the edge of the stage, tears shimmering in her eyes, as Clara clutched her bouquet, a mixture of pride and apprehension lighting her features. Every dish I washed, every time I felt overlooked, led me to this moment, Sarah said, the tremor in her voice replaced by steady strength. I realized if I want to bloom, I must break through the soil of doubt that has held me down. A ripple of murmurs traveled through the crowd, and Emily could see faces engaged, not just spectators anymore, but allies in Sarah's journey. Her heart swelled with pride, cheering her sister on in a way she'd never before imagined. As Sarah continued, she pulled the wildflowers from her bouquet, scattering the petals to the floor like little seeds planting hope. These flowers remind me of everything I can be, of the beauty and uncertainty. I'm not defined by my past mistakes or fears. In that moment, everything felt impossibly raw. The energy surged in the room, illuminating hearts and faces. I saw vulnerability transformed into empowerment. It was almost tangible. A girl stepping bravely into the spotlight, owning every moment that led her here. I will claim my voice, Sarah cried, her arms raised triumphantly. And you can too. Let this night be the beginning of our stories. Let us stand proud. A roar of applause erupted, a wave of sound crashing against the walls of the venue. People jumped to their feet, cheering, clapping, their faces lit by pure joy and surprise.
But in the midst of that celebration, the girl from the crowd who had rushed to the stage still stood to the side, unease shadowing her features. Emily noticed her, confusion and concern etched into a face that seemed out of place within the currents of jubilation. Who is she? What does she know that we don't? Before Emily could focus her thoughts, the lights flickered ominously. The MC stood at the back, visibly alarmed, communicating frantically in gestures. Something's wrong, Emily whispered, an uneasy tension knotting in her stomach. Her instincts kicked in. There was more brewing beneath the surface, a story still unfolding, with stakes higher than she thought. The celebration hadn't revealed the whole truth. What danger lurked just beyond this moment of triumph? What secrets were waiting to be uncovered? The applause hung in the air like a sweet memory, but the storm brewing in the shadows behind the bright light's glow sent a chill down Emily's spine. Her heart raced as she quickly scanned the audience. Look at her, Jenna said, pointing toward the girl standing off to the side. The girl's expression was a mix of apprehension and concern, contrasted sharply against the joy radiating from the other audience members. What's going on? Emily whispered, half expecting an answer that wouldn't come. She could feel Jenna's grip tightening on her arm, a visceral anchor in that whirlwind of uncertainty. Maybe she needs help, Jenna suggested, or maybe she has something to say. The MC's panic rose, his hand gesturing wildly in the direction of the flickering lights. The crowd's chatter dimmed, confusion settling like an unwelcome visitor. Emily turned back to Sarah, who still stood bathed in the afterglow of triumph, unaware of the shift in energy behind her. Sarah, Emily called, trying to break through the distance. But before she could even finish, the girl stepped out of the shadows and into the light. Unlike the other excited faces, she took a tentative step forward, her hands clasped tightly in front of her. Stop, she shouted, her voice cutting through the fading applause like a knife. The room went silent, all eyes now set upon her, the girl who had drawn focus with the urgency of a fire alarm. Who are you? Sarah asked, turning, her confidence faltering as she looked at her with growing uncertainty. There was a moment of hesitation, then the girl took a deep breath. My name is Mia, she said, her voice shaking but firm. And I know about the chaos you're all feeling. I wasn't supposed to be here tonight, but I had to come. Emily felt a knot tighten in her stomach. What chaos was Mia talking about? The energy in the room shifted again, a mixture of curiosity and unease rising. What do you mean?
Sarah asked, stepping down from the podium,
her vibrant spirit suddenly shadowed by the tension in Mia's words. Mia glanced back at the audience, as if gauging their reactions. "I know things about the place we all come from," she paused, her eyes locking with Sarah's. "Things that can tear us apart if we don't stand together." In the silence that followed, the weight of Mia's words sank in. Emily's heart raced, a feeling of impending revelation wrapping around her like a tough embrace. What secrets could possibly lie behind the girl who had come forward? Mia took another breath, steadying herself. "There's a reason we often feel invisible. It's because we are fighting against something greater than our fears. If we don't unite, we risk losing everything." Sarah's brows furrowed as she searched Mia's face. "What are you talking about?" Suddenly the crowd began to murmur, a wave of uncertainty washing over them. Whispers of concern sliced through the buzz, and Emily could see fear mirrored in several faces, including Jenna's. "Tell us!" someone from the crowd shouted. Mia stepped forward, her gaze fierce and determined despite the fear in her voice. "I found something that connects us all, and it's under threat." The atmosphere crackled, anticipation and dread tangled in Emily's gut. What could possibly be at stake? "Please," Mia urged, her voice growing louder. "You all need to hear this. It's not just Sarah's story we're fighting for. It's the story of every one of us." With the eyes of everyone focused on Mia, Emily felt the weight of that moment shift. What lay ahead in the story they were about to uncover? And would it unite them or tear them apart? As she looked at Sarah, Emily could sense that this was the beginning of something important. But the question loomed larger than ever. Would they be strong enough to face whatever truth lay ahead? The room held its breath, a fragile silence settling in after Mia's explosive revelation. Emily felt the energy shift from excitement into a collective tension. People looked around, whispers bubbling to the surface. Sarah stood firm, fists clenched, eyes wide, torn between fear and bewilderment. "What do you mean?" Sarah finally asked, her voice steady yet anxious. "What exactly did you find?" Mia took a deep breath, her courage flickering like a candle in the wind. "There's a plot to take down the community, to erase the very essence that binds us all together. It's been happening quietly, but we can't let it succeed. We need to come together, or everything, families, hopes, dreams, will shatter." Emily's heart raced as the weight of Mia's words sang in. She exchanged worried glances with Jenna, who looked equally concerned. This night, which had begun so joyfully, now hung in the balance, threatened by a darkness they hadn't anticipated. "Why didn't anyone say anything?" Clara stepped forward, her fierce demeanor softening as she recognized the gravity of the situation.
"If we're under threat, we need to protect each other." "I didn't know how to share it and risk causing panic," Mia replied, her voice trembling slightly. "But when I saw you all celebrating, something clicked. People need to know that we're stronger together, that we cannot let fear take away our dreams." Sarah stepped closer to Mia, heart starting to race, a fierce determination lighting up her eyes. "You're right. We've spent too long hiding in shadows, afraid of our voices and dreams being overshadowed. This community embodies hope, and we have to protect it." A ripple of agreement rose through the crowd, fueled by the spirit of unity that Emily felt begin to blossom. "Yes, we have to come together, stand proudly in our individuality, and protect this place," Emily echoed, her voice rising in fervor. Encouraged by the collective strength, Clara shouted, "Let's show our community that we are more than mere bystanders. We're artists, creators, and we have the power to change what's happening around us." Loud cheering erupted, an unstoppable wave of empowerment crashing through the pavilion. Emily felt a surge of hope fill her chest as she looked at the faces around her. This was a moment of truth, a moment they could seize together. As the crowd chanted, Sarah turned back to Emily, an infectious grin spreading across her face. "Can you believe this? We're finally standing together, claiming our voices?" Emily embraced her sister tightly, warmth flooding through her. "I'm so proud of you, Sarah. You're really stepping into your own." Suddenly, Mia raised a hand to calm the crowd. "Let's not act too rashly. We need a plan. If we act without thinking, we could put our dreams and our community at risk." "Then let's get to work," Jenna said energetically. "Together, we can come up with a strategy to protect our community while also showcasing our talents. If we're united, they'll never take us down."
A chorus of agreement erupted, spirits soaring as the room transformed from pensive uncertainty to electric excitement. Ideas flowed, inspired whispers exchanged, fuels igniting their collective vision. They began crafting a plan that combined their talents. The fashion show would serve as their platform. They would use the showcase not only to highlight their individual stories, but also to advocate for their community's strength and unity. What started as a night of celebration became a rallying cry for their ideals. They would use their platform to raise awareness, inviting every artist, musician, and dreamer in Maplewood to participate. Emily felt the resolve build within her, reflecting on how far they'd come together. Before long, everyone gathered around in a circle, arms interlocked, hearts united. As they made a pact to stand together and support each other's hopes and dreams, laughter bubbled as high as the cheers.
In that defining moment, the community no longer felt like a loose collection of individuals, but a family forged through a shared purpose. As the music began to swell again, flourishes of joy filling the air, Emily's heart beat in sync with Sarah's. They were no longer caught in the web of sacrifice or hidden dreams. They had become a source of light, shining for one another, for their community. "Yes!" Sarah shouted, breaking the unifying moment as she held up her bouquet of wildflowers, an overwhelming symbol of blossoming potential. "Let's show them how bright we can shine together!" With renewed energy, they set off into the night, fueled not just by dreams, but by action and solidarity. The path might be riddled with challenges, but they would face it, together. Emotions surged within Emily, swelling in her chest like a tidal wave. She felt a new chapter unfurl, one where the bonds of family and community intertwined to form a tapestry of hope, strong and vibrant. And as the celebrations erupted, she couldn't help but think, this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. So now, fellow dreamers and community builders, this is your moment to join in. You need to subscribe now. Don't miss the chance to see where this journey takes us next. Leave a like now if you believe in the power of dreams and community. Your support is what keeps this vivid story alive. Comment below. What are your thoughts on this transformation? We want to know. And don't wait not even one more second to share this with at least 5 friends who also believe in the strength of unity. Let's make this a movement.